you've got to think about as you're heading into 2019 is what are you doing to keep your client, take them out of circulation? And what are you doing to put barbed wire around them so that when they think of real estate, they're coming to you for questions? If they see an ad, they go, hey, can you tell me about that? Better yet, you're already telling them about it because you're already ahead of the game. It's about, building enough relationship with them that you are their trusted advisor and then just sharing what that message really looks like.
Masters, listen, this is a phenomenal episode. I mean, unbelievable. It is so timely with the market shifting and technology and everything that's happening with Zillow and instant offers and all these sites. It's about going back to the basics and going back to the people that you know, that you do business with, that like and trust you, my friend. It's about dominating your sphere of influence, your neighborhood, your geo farm. And today we have the expert on that, Kenny Klaus. 19 years in the business. Can't say enough about Kenny. It's about shift-proofing your business. 132 million in volume last year. No big deal, right? I mean, he went from being a FedEx driver to doing that kind of a volume. He's closing 500 units a year. Consistently talks to us about mastering our sphere of influence. How do we compete with those sites, those Zillows, those Redfins, EXPs, whatever? Guys, it's really about coming back to the basics. Hyperlocal farming, just a phenomenal episode on really, this is what you need to know now if you want to succeed, if you want to kill your business, if you want to continue moving forward when the industry is shifting. And I guarantee you, my friends, a lot of people are going to be getting out of real estate, and this is a big opportunity. So really pay attention to what Kenny has to say on this episode. And you know what? I think one of the biggest things he said is really come from contribution. And that's what it's all about, coming from contribution and just getting out there. So this is fantastic. It's a little longer than most of our episodes because it's that good. That said, another opportunity right now is FSBOs and expireds, because those are the people that have their hands up, my friends. So you want to master the FSBOs and expireds. Don't forget about School for Realtors, my kit. It's only $149. There's not a better spend of $149 out there if you want to get in the game of mastering the FSBOs and expireds. It does not take much for that investment to get paid back. You take one listing, there's 10x. All right, it's super easy. Go to schoolforrealtors.com, schoolforrealtors.com. My friends, enjoy Kenny Klaus. You rock. What's up, masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery podcast. And today we've got a special guest with us. As you may be able to tell, I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold that I'm trying to get rid of, but I did not want to put off this episode with Kenny. So Kenny Klaus from Keller Williams, welcome today, my friend.
Hey, buddy. Thanks so much. And it's that time of the year that sickness is out there. So take good care of yourself, man. You got the strong end of the year we got to finish and all that fun stuff. So
absolutely, my friend. And you probably don't deal with it like we do. We're in the Northeast, but you're out in Arizona. So do you guys deal with those types of seasonal colds and stuff? Like everybody around me has been sick for weeks. It's crazy. Yeah,
we get sick, but we don't have the weather fluctuation. And, I think today it's going to be mid-60s or low 60s or so. So it's sunny, and this is why people move here this time of year. So,
well, enough about colds and all that. Let's talk about what we got together for. Kenny has been in the business for 19 years now. Have you always been with Keller Williams?
No, I started with a small company, and then I was RE/MAX for about 8 years, and then in 2010, I moved over to KW.
Okay, good. I didn't know that, man. So good to know. So that was right about the time I met you, too.
Yeah.
Because we met in the Gary Keller Mastermind, and I think that was like 2011.
That sounds about right. Yep.
That's awesome, dude. And so let me just tell everybody your numbers. 2019, you did, it's not a specific number, obviously, but 132,531,000 and change. Right?
Yeah. Then that was our 17 year. Then 18, we're just a little bit under that. We had a few internal changes, and then next year we're actually shooting to exceed that. So very fluid market out here, a lot of transactions based on sales prices, a lot of adjustments. Everybody comes to Arizona to try out their new tech toys, so we're dealing with a lot of different competitive sources. We used to know who the competition was. It would be another agent. You were competing, and now we've got a lot of technology toys that I don't think you guys are on a large scale experiencing quite like we are out here, instant offers and those kind of things that are going on. But we're adapting, adjusting quickly as we all have to, as markets, are never consistent for very long, meaning change is the only consistent thing in our businesses.
Well, I love that, man. Yeah, I really want to go deep into that conversation today because the market is changing. It's shifting in a few different ways, not just the market itself, but also technology, like you talked about.
Yep.
And also, I know your goal for 2019, you told me, is about 154 or 155 million.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic volume. Big percentage, at least from what I know. I mean, I was out to your restaurant and got to explore your geo farm, I guess. Is that what you guys call it?
Yeah. Hyper local focus is really what I started doing in 2001, and I've never quit that consistency to that area. So,
and a lot of your business has come from that, right? From that farming, and you were sharing earlier how.
Oh man,
tell us about that. How'd you get started on that? Why'd you focus on that direction?
Like everybody, we have a dream to get a real estate license, and I was a FedEx guy for 13 years. And so when you're out delivering packages, and the model that we used there was you had what we call swing drivers, and then you had full-time route drivers, that they had their own route, and then you had guys and gals that had to cover when someone was sick or on vacation or, whatever the case may be. So you can imagine if you're the guy who runs the same route every day, your client care, your customer service, your knowledge, consistency, predictability, knowing your consumer, so well, meaning are you delivering to the front, to the back? These are all things that we dealt with. And then when you were a swing driver, you never really know who was supposed to sign for the package and who was who, if you will. So you'd walk into an office and, they'd tell you got to go to the back door, or you got to, this is the person who signs, or usually they pick up at this time, and all the different things that we went through. And so when I started real estate, I kind of started the same way a lot of agents do. You start bugging all your friends and family, and, you tell everybody you're hungry and excited. And then you start spending money on things, and you're just kind of shotgunning around, if you will, or try this. And, one thing in my life has always been consistency as far as employment or just things I've done. And so we were moving to a new neighborhood in 2001. And so I decided, well, let's just dominate this area. Let's just focus on this neighborhood. And if there's enough transactions in that neighborhood, then why don't I just try to get 10, 15, 20% of that transaction and become really good? And so I started calling it my realtor route, if you will, going back to the idea of, a lot of agents operate as swing drivers like we did with FedEx, meaning whatever's next, you go do it. And whatever's next, you go do that. And whatever's next, and you never really get good at any of it in a lot of cases. But when you find a niche and you can just really focus on that, that whole 10,000 hours concept.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So I just started a little newsletter in the community, and then I just started setting up activities around that to run a route to interact with the community, both business and the homes, so that I could really get to know the product that I was selling, and then, who I was selling the product for or to in some cases. And then just kept that consistency and just kind of came from contribution. The newsletter was about the community and about people in the community. And there's a ton of work, don't get me wrong. And we've scaled that over the years. But truthfully, that's how it really all started, was just the concept of FedEx and going, do I want to shotgun all over the valley, which is very difficult to do because we're so spread out here, and then not have the confidence that I was starting to gain from knowing the builders, knowing the houses, knowing the schools, the high school football coach, the principal. I mean, you're almost like running for mayor in a community, if you will.
I love that.
So that's kind of how it all started, was just failing, forward and trying to fail faster so that when they think about selling, we know roughly, I think it's 68%, call it right around 70%, only talk to one agent, another 17%, these are NAR, say talk to two. If almost 85 to 90% are only going to talk to two agents, then I've got to figure out a way to get top of mind.
Yeah, you're going to be one of those two, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was, and the internet has changed a lot. I mean, that was 2001. Obviously, things have evolved. I still feel we're in a pretty relational business still, where if you're doing the right things and you're creating an experience for the client, then computers can just be a tool or technology can be a tool versus us being the tool for technology.
Absolutely. So let me break down some of that because you just gave us a ton of great content. You mentioned dominating your neighborhood. You talked about essentially mastery, right? 10,000 hours. You said, you know what, I'm going to focus on kind of building a geo farm, like you used FedEx driver as the metaphor. How long did that take you? You mentioned you want to take 10, 15, 20% of the market. How long does that take, Kenny? Is that something that happens, 6 months, a year? Does it take multiple years? What should people be doing when they go into it with those right expectations?
No, it's not like an attorney, right? I mean, I'll say it depends because it truly depends on what your level of focus and energy is around that. Meaning, if you're just sending out a newsletter and going, man, I can't wait for the phone to start ringing, that's obviously one way. If you're really out getting involved and doing the things, then you start to speed up that conversion rate, I guess, if you will. So the point being that it's all based on the amount of activities. So, doing a newsletter like we do is one thing, but that's not the end-all, be-all is my point. There's more to it than just sending out a newsletter, meaning you got to go use that as a tool.
So the newsletter, that's once a month you're sending a newsletter?
Yep.
If somebody said to you, Kenny, I want to start building my farm, what would you tell them? What would be your first place to start?
There's a lot of factors to that. One obviously being make the decision based on business, not on your heart or on your emotions, I should say. Meaning when you do this, you don't, I really love that area, so I want to go be the expert there. There's some business decisions that need to be made. And what I mean by that is, what are turnover rates in that area? Is there any major competition in that area that already has a large market share? Not that you can't compete, but it may not be where you start competing. You may have to come back to it. You're really looking at going, does this make sense? And is this where I want to build my business 20 years from now? Do I still want to own a business? Because one of my passions in sharing the journey and the story with people is helping real estate agents go from having a real estate job to actually owning a real estate business in a geographic area. So at the end of this, you just don't end up with the database that most people can't sell or do anything with, that you actually have a household name in an area that isn't dependent on me anymore. It's really looking for our system. So when you're looking at that, again, it's all those things. It's turnover rates. Is the average sales price, everybody wants to be in the million and multi-million range because it sounds great. The reality of it is, in our market, that's highly saturated and highly competitive, whereas the transactional side of the business, where I kind of live, is in that sweet spot where there's more turnover, I guess is my point. So there's more opportunity, which when you start meeting more people, a lot of times that turnover does lead to other transactions. You just have to have transactions to start and start practicing and reinvesting. That's probably one of the biggest things I see in the market is people will make a little bit of money in real estate and then they go spend it instead of reinvesting into their business so that they can stay ahead of things. And, for us, we started investing, being the FedEx guy, one of the natural things for me was to get a moving truck. And so we got a moving truck in '04 and wrapped that and still have it today. And that gets visibility in the neighborhood. So it's that constant, every time they turn a corner, there's that branding. They go to the grocery store and the little ad stick things that go in between the groceries. If you guys have those type of things, we don't do those in random stores, in the stores that are in the community. The idea is that you never know what's going to generate it. You just focus your activities all, in one area. And when Gary came out with the book, The One Thing, it really solidified everything I'd been doing. And I went, wow, I didn't even kind of realize at the time it was my one thing, but it really was focusing on that to build a foundation where we would have consistent and predictable business. And that was always the goal, because I saw most agents have, a good month, but not good months consistently. Then it gets pretty stressful and unpredictable. So point being that was kind of our vision for that was I want to just try to create something where it's just consistent business coming in. In my disc profile, I'm a high I, and so that kind of gregarious, outgoing, life of the party, like connector type thing has worked very well for me in that piece of it. But it also worked very well because I'm more marketing based than prospecting based.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, I'd send something out and then people call me to come list their home. First, a lot of people are out door knocking or, prospecting and calling. And that just was not my nature. And so I didn't know it at the time, by the way. And I'm talking like I knew that back then. I just knew that marketing was the way for me. And then people called me to come out and list their home. So the conversion rate was, usually much stronger, all those things that ends up pulling together because they've called you to come out to the house. It's not like you're calling and bugging them, if you will.
Yeah, and you also focused on your strengths, right? So it was easier for you. And probably, it sounds like through the FedEx experience, it created a lot of connection and opportunities for you within the area, right? So you knew who was who, you knew people. And to me, that's brilliant. I mean, it really is. So it's not just sending a newsletter, like you said. I mean, you've got a newsletter, you've got the moving trucks in the area, you've got your restaurant. You said you had the grocery store. What is that, on like the shopping carts and stuff?
No, the little ad sticks that, when you go in there, you put on like in between the groceries on the belt. I don't know how your grocery stores are set up, but yeah, just those little things.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
The point with all that was just, you're going to spend money, reinvest it into your geographic hyper-local area because you're looking to build residual value through your marketing versus one and done. So if you do a just listed postcard and a just sold postcard on a house over in one part of town and your next listing's over on the other part and you do something there, that's great. And then that, blows away in the wind and then that's the end of that. And then the next one comes up. And my point is that it doesn't build on each other. Whereas, our goal was always, how do we make this continue to build so that when people see it, there's like, man, these guys are everywhere. That kind of thing was more of my mindset than anything else. Not that we don't sell and market in other areas. The point being that your marketing gets more shelf life when people feel like they're seeing it all the time. That's the goal. If you're listing all over the place, it's hard to do that. And with technology today, if you look at what's changed, which again, I didn't know at the time, if you look at what has changed, it used to be with all this stuff. Now you've got Zillow ranks agents by neighborhood, for example, and it shows where you're selling. So a consumer can look on there and say, well, who's selling the most in my neighborhood? So you could have 100 sales, but if they're in 50 different areas, you're not ranking in any of them very high. But if you have 50 sales in one area, you're coming up on the top or very close, depending on your markets. It just increases your odds. And then, guess what? You're using that, of course, too, when you're marketing, because you're saying, check me out on Zillow or check me out here, because they're already looking. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. They're already there. So you might as well just use that as a tool. And so then we really started focusing on reviews and really pushed the envelope there. And I give Jeff Glover credit on that. Several family reunions ago, I went in one of his classes and he had mentioned that, and we were kind of trying to get reviews on all of them and failing because you were sending people too many things to get reviews on. Once we broke that down and said, let's just focus on Zillow, then we went over the last 3 years from 32 to, over 600 now. And
600 Zillow reviews? Holy cow.
The point is, we don't have to spend any money on Zillow anymore because they rank you higher based on that. So the point with all this is that if you're focusing on an area, you start building dominance in that area. And don't get me for efficiency. Just from just your own life as far as, having to run over here and then run over there and drive all over the place versus just really focusing on an area. It really plays more for your time too. So it's a win for the client because they actually do get, which was a huge part for me, is I didn't want to just say, hey, we're the local market expert. We truly wanted to be the local market expert. And the way to do that was to know the product inside and out, meaning the house, that you're selling. And so that became, extremely important to us.
Are you doing anything with social media? Do you guys do Facebook boosting and all that as well, targeting your area?
Yeah, so we have, the community. We do everything by zip code. So like 85209.com is, one of our farms. And so we don't go by subdivision name. We go by zip code. Just happens to work out here. And fortunately, I happened to buy a bunch of those zip codes back when they were available. But yeah, so we'll do business interviews, local events that are coming up, anything that's hyper local. We had Santa at our office this week, but anything that we can do, if there's a car show that's local, that's maybe not getting the big press, we'll interview the football coach. We interviewed the high school principal, anything that's happening in the area. There's a lot of fundraisers the schools do, so we will help share those so that people see them.
So when you say interview, what do you mean? Video interview them? Is that a Facebook Live?
Yeah. In the past, it's always been, like a video, and then we'll upload it to YouTube and then link it or, put it on Facebook. Now Facebook Live, you can, but we still typically just go shoot a video. That way we have time to edit it and post it when we want to.
Got it.
Because a lot of people are nervous at first with doing video, of course, But, we did the dry cleaners and our moving company, and you find different businesses in your area. And so one of the things I started years ago, because, again, I don't like rejection naturally. I don't think anybody does, but meaning it's not my wheelhouse to not want people to want to like me, if you will. And so I always had to find ways to be on purpose. And so we started a little a neighborhood network meeting, and you walk into a business, first they're looking at you, and then they want to reject you and think you're up to something. And then, when you offer them the idea, hey, we're doing this little local business network meeting over here at this restaurant the third Tuesday of every month at 7:30, with the goal is to bring awareness and help keep dollars in our local community for our local businesses. Is that something you'd be interested in? And it's a pretty easy pitch because you're just saying, would you like to keep local dollars in our area? Well, of course, they're a fixed business in the area. They need to keep local dollars in the area. So we just started that and been doing that for, years and years now. That's been cool because it gets you the ability to do some business interviews also because you're building rapport. And of course, for me, I want the business owners to know who I am in the area too.
Sure.
A lot of times, their clients in the dry cleaner, hey, we're thinking about moving, we're going to miss your dry cleaning. And all of a sudden they start to become an advocate because you've given to receive, if you will.
You're the expert. You really have top of mind in this farm. You said earlier that your goal is to be one of the, if people are interviewing two agents, you're going to be one of them in this area. That's for sure. Masters, I hope you're enjoying the episode, and I'm going to get you right back to the show. Couple opportunities. First, I talked about School for Realtors. Here's your one place to master FSBOs and expireds. Guys, you're going to get the expired full kit, and I'm going to give you the scripts that you need to be successful with for sale by owners, whether it's Zillow leads, Make Me Move, makes no difference, or it's just a FSBO at the corner that you want to pop by and say hello to. So everything you need to be successful, my friends, with FSBOs and expireds, your complete kit, only $149, schoolforrealtors.com. That's it, schoolforrealtors.com. And second, guys, if you love podcasts, which obviously you do, you're listening to this, you're going to love Audible. Audible has maybe not every book you can think of, but has amazing library of the best books out there. You can get yourself a free Audible book, absolutely free, like FREE, from going to davidsfreebook.com. Just go to davidsfreebook.com. I'll even give you a recommendation. Right now, I went back to some old school. I'm listening to Harv Eker's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's been fantastic to kind of regroup with that book, re-energize, and get my thinking right going into a new year. So anyway, couple opportunities, schoolforrealtors.com, Master FSBOs and Expireds, and davidsfreebook.com. Master Mindset. Guys, you rock. Enjoy the rest of Kenny Klaus. Let me ask you this, because obviously with the technology, the industry's changing itself. A lot of things going on with discount companies. And at Keller Williams, we talk about creating a moat around our business. It sounds like you've done a pretty good job of that. What happens when some of these other companies do show up in your area?
Man, it's been tough. I don't know if you guys have heard the iBuyer type stuff with Open Door and OfferPad. And of course, now Zillow's gotten into it. Clients can just go get an offer before they even list their home, and they're not lowball wholesale type offers. They're pretty darn good. And so one thing that the newsletter has always allowed me to do is I created an audience. And once we created that audience of readers, meaning reading our content, then whenever the market shifted, so like when it went to short sales and foreclosures, we just started a local workshop of avoid foreclosure, know your options with an attorney and a CPA. And of course, we already had the distribution channel because we're sending out the newsletter, which is now a trusted source. And people came to that. Then we shifted and went to roadbackhome.com, which was how to get on the road back home after going through that. We started teaching classes with a lender on that. Now monthly we do our homeowner workshop, which is just helping people get the most for their home and the trends and things today. I think the important message that we could get out as an industry to, our peers would be it's our job to educate our database on what's happening in the market, whether that's through video or content, instead of allowing Zillow and all these other sources to influence our clients' decisions and think that, they don't need us because they're getting all the information from these other sources. So we're really just, an overpaid Uber driver in some cases, just showing them houses and letting them in the door. And so for us, we're constantly hitting our database with, here's what's happening in the market. Hey, you're going to hear this stuff out there. Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow doing this. Let me explain to you from a non-sales perspective, but as your real estate guide, what all this means to you. And we kind of dive deeper into what this really means. Because if not, then it's our fault why they go to the other places, because the other places are marketing better than us and delivering a better message. So, as the market is shifting, we don't all have to follow the herd and say, the market is shifting. The homes are still selling. It's what's your unique advantage you're doing for your client to help keep them at the top of the funnel. And some of that's just having the data and being brutally honest with them with, when it comes to pricing or preparing the home. The market can do whatever, but there's always homes selling. Even out here when it was like a ghost town for a while where everybody was afraid to do anything because our prices were falling, there was still homes sold every single month. And the point is, well, how did those sell? Were they lucky? Did it have this? Or, was there an agent who helped caused it to sell by pricing strategies, by incentive strategy, by preparing the home? Whatever it took, you just find the solution, because a home will sell when you meet the market where they're looking to buy. There's really two things. It's price and presentation. And if your price is out of line, you're not going to sell. If your presentation's out of line, which is usually reflected then in your pricing, then you're not going to sell. But if you get those in alignment, then typically we, see results.
So when you say presentation, you mean condition of the house?
Condition of home. Yeah. How you present the home, meaning, some people, they think their home show's amazing. And if you leave the appointment, you get out your car and you're like, holy cow, what a piece of crap. I don't even want to bring someone over here. You're not doing either people justice. It's be honest with them, let them kick you out now, and they'll call you back in 2 or 3 months once they fire the other agent. The way you articulate is important. Don't get me wrong. It's people's homes. They take a lot of pride, ask a lot of questions when you're in there, and help them discover, self-discover that maybe our home is a little dated. I just had one on Friday afternoon. At first they were a little defensive, and by the end of the conversation, he wanted to be at 365, and, we're going on at 349.9 at full list, but I couldn't start there. I had to kind of, show them some images of other homes. Hey, here's the money you didn't spend, so we're not trying to recoup that money. So I know we're getting a little off topic, but the point is you really need to become a local market expert in whatever that means. So for us, when we do our workshop, we're showing them what the new upgrades that are getting the highest return are doing. So changing out door hardware, light fixtures, backsplashes, granite shower surrounds, compared to what new construction now is offering. And when people see it, it's no longer like me. It's like a parent telling your kid what to do and they don't listen. It's more of, you have to lead them to discover it.
It sounds like, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of, we'll say Zillow is an example. There's a lot of Redfin now. There's other companies that are running television ads in certain areas. Connect with one of our agents. We've got the best agents. And our clients are seeing that. How do you, because obviously your clients know you're top of mind in the area, but how do you defend against those types of things?
It's about, building enough relationship with them that you are their trusted advisor, and then just sharing what that message really looks like. It's the whole script of, when they want commissions, and of course, you end up, someone who's willing to take less with their own money, how are they going to handle your, all that. But, there's that same kind of almost conversation in some of those models where they're a volume game. They have to do enough business to make that up. And it doesn't mean that you're winning through that negotiation. Our average list price to sales price is this. So, they have to discount just to get back to where we were, let alone our vendor list and our moving truck and the trust that you already have. I think that the current shift in technology and then shift in the market. So really we have both shifts kind of going on. At least out here, we're seeing a little bit of shift. Not bad, but things are taking a little bit longer. Interest rates have gone up. So there's a little shift. Then we have a major technology shift because everybody comes to Arizona because of the volume of transactions, the affordability. There's people moving here. So you see all those tech toys coming out here. Really what this is doing, and I hate to say this for, maybe a lot of people listening, but maybe this is an opportunity for you, is that it's uncovering a lot of agents who don't deliver to the level that
Sure.
you need to as a professional. And I think it's going to take a lot of people out of the game because they don't have a business, a real estate business that they're running. They're running a transactional business, and that's going to run out over time because people won't come back to you typically. Bottom line is you need to start really thinking about what's the experience and what's the value you're delivering. And so tying back into geographic farming for us was they see us as a good partner in the community. And a lot of the comments we get are always, you guys do so much for the community. You're sponsoring this event and you donate to this and you're giving back instead of just trying to take from the community. And so we've done a lot of different events and do different sponsorships, and we're visible out there. So I think someone, if they're going to commit to geographic farming, you've got to be willing to get out in front of people and talk. And, if you walk into a room, if you're the kind that steps back and waits for people to talk to you, I don't know that geographic farming is the right. I would say it's not, because this is a contact sport. You've got to get out and meet people. You've got to be rejected a little bit. And I'm not saying bad, but our newsletter, for example, I think we're in 43, 45 businesses right now in the community. And the idea was when I run a route, every month I got to go visit that business and drop off this month's newsletters, and they have a little stand in front of their businesses. And the idea was, co-op marketing, if you will. And so for me, it forced me to have to go visit them once a month to put the newsletters back in their businesses. And it didn't always happen the first try, second try. It took time to build that trust and rapport, and then say, hey, would you mind if I put some of these, newsletters in your business, and then, I'll come back and fill them next month. Then it gives you a reason, like I said, to go back. Everything I do, I try to go, is this of value to the person that I'm delivering this opportunity to? And if it's not, I know it's not going to last. If it is, meaning now I can do a business video for them, we'll edit it, we'll share it, we can put it on our social, their social. And if I can drive business, like just for an example, this is kind of a silly one, my dry cleaner, and I don't go there that often, but, my wife takes things to there. But I've known Mike for a while, and I don't know, I think I saw like a sleeping bag hanging there. And I was like, oh, you do sleeping bags? And he's like, oh, man, we do this, we do wedding dresses, we do. And I'm like, wow. And so I said, would you be interested in doing just a quick video about all the stuff you do? Because I didn't know all this. And he's like, well, I don't really like video. And I said, oh, Mike, I'll make it easy. Just a couple quick questions. And so he agreed. And it was funny because the day we did it, he got all kind of dressed up and stuff. It was pretty funny.
That's cool.
It was really cool because we just panned through the store. We talked to him a little bit, and he got pretty passionate about what he does because people, when it's their craft, they get passionate. And it was really cool because we did the video, we posted it. People came in like, hey, I saw you on that video. It was almost like you're on TV, right? It's kind of cool. And then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks go by, and then he calls me. He's like, hey, I really appreciate that. It's been kind of a cool experience because I was thinking what I could do for you. And he goes, I was wondering, would you be interested in printing like 10,000 pieces of paper that you want, and I'll staple them to every bag that goes out here, every piece of dry cleaning that leaves here next month, I'll staple that on. So of course, we're going, wait a minute, what's your home worth and tired of renting? And all of a sudden we had this little ad, and it was just funny because we didn't go in looking for that, and you can't count on it every time. You don't know when it's always coming, but people naturally, if you're giving value, look to give back, whether it's a referral, whether it's just putting, a good name to you. I mean, I'll go to appointments sometimes and they're like, yeah, I talked to 2 or 3 people. I was at the bank and they're like, oh, you're selling, you got to call the Klaus team, you got to call. But it takes time. And that's probably why people don't, I would say, succeed at farming is 2 reasons. One is they don't budget for it. So they don't put, if your farm's going to cost about $1,000 a month, let's say to farm, a geographic area of say 1,500 homes, do you have $12,000 set aside where at month 4 and month 3 and month 7, you've got no business from it? Will you keep going for 12 months? And I challenge people because I think if you have a good product, now again, I can't control you, but I know the consistency of it. And so the budget is one, and then the work. And it's just almost like real farming, right? Time, money, work, and consistency. And if you look at a real farmer, he had to put money in, he has to put time in, he has to be consistent. But what happens year over year, he has the crop. Year over year, he gets more efficient at it and a better crop. And then eventually, when he does it really well, he starts buying the farms next to him, right? So the point is that it's really not rocket science. It's a consistent, true value-based plan. And then you've got to write down the plan, and then you've got to execute it month over month. When that sounds boring to people, believe me, doing 250 plus deals out of a farm every year it doesn't ever get boring. Let's put it that way.
All right, my friend. Well, I love this conversation. You and I can go on all day with it. I was going to ask you the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to farming. I think you answered that question. Is there anything else with that, with relation? You said not investing the time. I know that it's similar to advertising, right? Years and years ago, I worked for a magazine. When we went into business with people, we'd say, listen, you want to make a commitment. You're going to run this ad for a year before you're going to see any results. Maybe you'll see something before that, but it's a time commitment, correct?
It's just like anything, man. I mean, if you think about it, it's no different than anything that goes on out there, whether you're talking about trying to get in shape, you want to try some fancy diets or just eat better consistently. That'll be the best diet and the most affordable. And if you want to get in shape, I mean, you can't hit a button to do that. You can't go to the gym for 5 minutes. You've got to go consistently, and it sucks. And it sucks because transformation sometimes happens a little bit, like a diet. You lose a little bit of weight, and then you hit that part where it just maintains for a while, and you're like, this sucks. Why am I doing this? And then all of a sudden you hit that next little like aha moment, and then you get that release of endorphin where you're excited, and all of a sudden it's no different than this. There's plenty of quitting points, man. But if you're going to be in real estate and you're going to do it for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or you're trying to build a career, I go, why not build a foundation underneath it? And by the way, this is hunting and farming, right? I mean, you're still hunting every day. You're still prospecting. You can still door knock. But now you start prospecting and door knocking in your farm first and then go out from there. It doesn't mean that you're not doing open houses and doing events. You're trying to do them in your farm, even if you have to borrow someone's listing.
Yeah.
Go out and list one for free if you have to. I mean, your sign is where the value is. The testimonial is where the value is. Then you leverage off of that. But doesn't mean that you're not hunting. And then database, I can't say enough about. I mean, that is, as Lance Logan was called your data bank. I mean, that's where your money's at. And you got to take care of that. But we've just kind of gotten by for years in a lot of cases in the industry. If you really think about it, we used to own search. And so clients needed us for search. And then Zillow came along and kind of took search away from us. And then home valuations were kind of a hot thing. Well, now people can Google their address and get 17 different home valuations and scroll through until they find the one they like, of course. And so we have to be more engaged with the value that we're providing. And you're going to start hearing, and I hate to say because it's going to get real cliche, and it's going to be that word thrown around as, value proposition. What's your value proposition? But it's true. It's just you've got to go from there and define what that looks like. So for us, in farming, it's one value proposition, and in our database, it's another. They work together. I think if you can build your business on those two things, you control the lead source because you are the lead source. So you control that, which ultimately dictates how much you get paid for that lead, or in the world today, how much you pay for that lead. Because trying to compete online right now is, I don't want to say give up on it. There's some guys doing it at a high level, but majority, your budget just isn't going to stand with all the aggregators that are out there buying the leads and then selling them back to us with our own data.
Yeah.
So you've got to go control the lead. Well, what's the best lead to control? Is the person who just closed with you, the person who's in transaction with you, the person you sold to 2 years ago, who statistically knows 278 people. Well, if they know people and you're doing a good job for them, well, they put their name to you. And guess what? That typically comes with zero referral fee. It's almost like going backwards to go forward. It's, we say it, but you've got to think about as you're heading into 2019 is what are you doing to keep your client, take them out of circulation? Like, what are you doing to put barbed wire around them so that when they think of real estate, they're coming to you for questions? If they see an ad, they go, hey, can you tell me about that? Better yet, you're already telling them about it because you're already ahead of the game.
I love that. This is not super complicated, man. This is just getting out there and providing value and coming from contribution.
That's the problem, that we need to make it somehow, me and you, we could make this more confusing and more, and maybe a little sexier than using the word work. But the reality of it is that there's just no way around it. There's no easy button, because if there is, as soon as there is a way to get leads, maybe you're getting leads, which, by the way, leads is such a funny word to me, but someone else just bigger than you figures it out and then just takes it over. When your business model was Craigslist, for example, that changes. When it was Google AdWords, that changes. Hell, even when it was Boomtown, we had pay-per-click, that changed because then they started selling to more people. And so
it's always changing.
But when you dominate an area, no matter what is happening in that area, you become the messenger. You become, I already said the mayor once, now you got to become kind of the digital mayor too. Like you've got to be putting out content, keeping your community updated on what's happening in the market. So they go to you as the source, not look for other sources. Because as soon as they go to the internet, ads start popping up. This percentage listing fee, do this, I'll sell your home. You got to stay in front of them.
So in closing, I guarantee you some people are thinking in their minds, well, it's too late for this. I should have started this, 15 years ago or 10 years ago, like Kenny did. What would you say to the people that are thinking that?
Man, it is more valuable, in my opinion, than it's ever been. Because here's the opportunity, in my opinion, that we have. The markets are very confused. The consumer is very confused because there's so many ways to do business now. There's so many ways to sell a home, to buy a home. You can buy direct. You can buy with an agent. You can buy with a builder. You can buy online and save a discounted fee and all these different things. It's more important now to continue to allow the confusion to happen. Matter of fact, you can put it in your ad, confused on buying and selling in today's real estate market, confused in today's real estate market. Let me guide you through the process as your local market expert. I think it's more important today than it's ever been to come out of the noise and stand your ground, be an advocate and tell people about your industry. Because by the way, it's going to shrink. All predictions are, quite honestly, we could lose probably 500,000 agents throughout the country in the next 24 months. Licensees, that is. You've got to have a plan to make it through that. And that is, it's hard work. It's facing people. It's not behind the computer, in my opinion. You can do all that stuff too in farming. See, the cool thing about farming is any gadget that's out there, you can deploy it in your farm. It just has a better stickiness and a quicker adoption rate because people already trust and know your name and your brand. So it's not that you can't do any of the tools that are out there. You're just trying to focus into an area.
Fantastic, man. So how do our listeners, Kenny, get in touch with you if they want referrals or I don't know if you do have product as well that you're offering to people?
The interesting thing, and once you're on stage with Gary in front of, 12,000, and then last year I think it was 15 to 17,000 people, you get bombed and people hit you from every angle. And I care so much and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. At the same time, I'm still actively engaged in the business and not just sitting around waiting to take calls from people who are going to get jazzed and then go do nothing about it, which is the majority.
Yeah.
So several years ago, we're a little bit dated, meaning the information is accurate. It's just we need to do a kind of a refresh. But we have a product called CLME.com. I created that. Actually, I give credit to Ben Kenny. He kind of helped me get that going. And Gary really pushed me to say, give them a place. If you're willing to go through CLME.com, which is Certified Local Market Expert is what it stands for, then we're willing to help because then we have a forum and we have a private Facebook group. And if you use KK150, so KK150, it takes some money off. And if you're with KW, we also do it in a KW Maps group coaching class. We're finishing one. It'll start after family reunion. We go through that. So if you want to get something sooner, basically a lot of what we talked about today is in there in depth of we have our move-in bucket, we have our network meeting and all the things, and we have recipe cards that kind of break it down. But really, if people aren't willing to put in the investment and really start the process themselves, I would just ask them, I don't want to be mean or disrespectful.
Don't waste time, yours or theirs.
Time is money too. Yeah, exactly.
I get it. So is there a way they can get in touch with you for referral wise or?
So, obviously referrals, we do, that's a big part of our business and we love that because at least there's the conversion rate is so much higher. My email is, and I'll just give you my direct is just Kenny, Kenny, and then Klaus team, KLAUSTEAM.com. And I've been using the Kelly app a lot for the new referral network system, which has been working really well too. So we're on there and very active in there also.
Awesome, my friend. Well, hey, listen, as always, a true professional. I appreciate your time. And the final question is going to be, what's the one thing you really want everybody that listened to this interview to take from it and moving forward? What would be the first thing or the one thing?
Well, since we already talked about all the other stuff business-wise, I would say to me, the one thing, and it started my journey in 2005, would be your personal growth. And it sounds so simple, but it's got to be a consistent drive to get better every single day. So reading, podcasts, who you're surrounding yourself with, but you're your number one asset, and your world and your business can only grow to the extent that you grow. And so by you learning something a little bit every day and working to get better. And not every day is perfect, but you become a more knowledgeable person. It'll be amazing what it'll do when you're sitting at the table with somebody or out in the car with someone, how you articulate, you sound more knowledgeable because you're learning and growing. For some reason, we get out of school and we just decide we can stop learning and go for it. I would say that for me, it's hands down personal growth, because you'll attract people and things into your life as you become a bigger value to other people.
That's perfect, my friend. Well, again, I just want to say thank you for your time and fantastic information.
Awesome, brother. Well, anytime we can help each other, that's our goal. So happy holidays to everyone, and I'll probably see you, if not sooner, in New Orleans in February.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, buddy.
Masters, if you know me, you know health and nutrition is number one, and that's why I'm an advisor for Advocare products. Listen, in my opinion, these are the best products on the planet, guys. You get what you're supposed to get, right? I use the products for health. I use the products for energy. I use the products for wellness. So we have all the different lines from Spark, starting your day with a great energy shot, all the way to pre-workout. It's whatever your goals are, right? It's whatever your goals are. You can check out the products at www.livelongersmarter.com. That's my website. Or reach out to me, and I'd love to have a 30-minute or, anywhere from 15 to 30-minute conversation with you, just talking about your health and nutrition goals and what I can do to help you achieve those goals. So again, products, energy line, wellness line, whether it's joints, you're getting up there in the age, you just want to take care of yourself. I'll tell you, one of the greatest compliments I get is people, you say, wow, you look amazing. I cannot believe you are the age you are. Weight loss. I've helped lots of people, guys, lose weight, not just lose it, but keep it off with the products. And the cool thing is, I'd say 75% of the people who start with our products, they continue using our products even after they initially tried them, which has been amazing. And strength, if you're into bodybuilding, then hey, Rich Fronin, okay? I don't know if you know who Rich Fronin is. He's an advocate for Advocare as well. So amazing products. You can see us. We're featured on NASCAR, professional soccer, college basketball, college football, Men's Health magazine last month. These are the real deal, guys. LiveLongerSmarter.com is the website, or reach out to me if you, like I said, if you want to have a personal conversation with me, just send me an email. In the subject line, just put Advocare products, and I'd love, like I said, schedule a 15 to 30-minute call with you to talk about your health and nutrition goals. Guys, you rock. Live longer, smarter. And as Gary Keller eloquently said, if you don't take care of your body, where are you gonna live? You rock.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of the Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.